Hi everybody, welcome to Indianapolis. We're here at PASIC 2024, the Percussive Art Society International Convention. And I'm here with Luke Treacher, the General Manager for Dynasty Titan. Luke has very kindly agreed to give us a behind the scenes look at their booth here, and so we're very excited to see what's cooking with Dynasty. Luke, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, welcome to PASIC 2024.
Thank you. This is day 3, the final stretch.
It is.
You have survived the maybe one of the loudest rooms that we've seen here.
The loudest room, absolute loudest room in any convention.
You can confirm.
Yes, 100%.
And so we've got this little window of quiet here as everyone has stopped playing, and we're gonna walk through the booth. I know there are questions that I want to ask, but just to give everyone a quick preview, if you peek over here, guys, we've got the beautiful drums in the back, which we're going to get to in the middle of the video, so make sure you watch the end. But we're going to come across over here to the field frames first.
Yes.
So Luke, can you tell us just a little bit about Dynasty and China? Like, where are you guys based out of? And what do you start with that?
Yeah, so we're a father-son run company. We have been since 2010. We got into the industry, we got into manufacturing through Titan field frames, and that's where we started to nail down, actually, this is something we're good at and something we can continue to do and grow. And so in 2016, we brought manufacturing in-house, and this is where we brought a weld shop in, we brought finishing shop, we started to cut. I started to cut my teeth on learning manufacturing, and since then it's just continued to grow and grow. In 2018, we got a phone call saying, are you interested in buying Dynasty? And we went to look at their manufacturing facility, and I tell you what, the level of production, the quality of their work was a real selling point for us to get involved in instrument manufacturing and production. So in 2019, we purchased Dynasty, and since then we've taken it on as our own. We've worked very closely with Paul and Sandy and the Vanguard to develop new product ranges. We use a lot of experts within their particular fields to build our new instruments. And so let's dig in and take a look.
Fantastic. Those frames that you talked about getting your start with manufacturing, are these, I know these are the 8.0 or 12.0 version of those frames.
Yeah.
But is this kind of where you said you got your start?
Yeah, so we had, the market had a lot of busted keyboard frames, and rather than replace the entire marimba or vibe or whatever it was, we brought to market a simple solution of, well, just buy a new steel frame, keep your keyboard, and it keeps running. And when we first came out on that, when we first came to market with frames, my competition were bandads and schools who would do it by themselves. And so we started to put a 3-year warranty onto the frames, and it started to outlast a lot of what they were building themselves. And a market started to establish itself within that. But it's a little difficult to get it up and running. And then once the whole pro audio world started entering the marching activity,
Parts for the
speaker frames, synth frames, mixing frames, people start coming to you, well, I want to move a timpani, I want to move a drum set, I want to move whatever they've got going, generators. And so you just start developing products that fits the needs of whatever's coming at you in the industry. So, and that's how Titan got started. That was our base for several years, right up until we took on Dynasty in 2019.
So for those who are watching who may not be percussionists, or maybe you're a band director you're watching, Titan is covering the frame structure portion, but for marimbas there's so many other components. You have the bars, you have the rails, you have the resonators, and is that where the Dynasty component comes in?
So in developing of our keyboards, all of our boards are made by the DeMoro factory. We partnered with him because there's a lot of synergy between Dynasty and DeMoro and what we try to do with our products. So we both manufacture within the US. We both want a custom build specific to the market, and Doug is a very high level. I mean, we saw several keyboard manufacturers when choosing to partner with someone with Dynasty, and we met with a lot of people, and Doug is a craftsman at heart. He brought us in and he was making us listen to each bar. This is what I think is going to be great for the music education world with Dynasty. This is the direction I think you should put your resonator. This is the direction where I think we should, this is how we should build the resonators, and this is the sound, and this is the family of notes that we're going to build along with the resonators, and what issues are we seeing in the market with keyboards, and he wanted to address those. And so as a team, and Paul and Sandy even, what did they want from an instrument? And they had a huge part in developing the E-frame, because Sandy is constantly seeing students lift up keyboards using 2 people on the low end, boards sitting at funny angles. And so, what can we do to address those features, and putting it on an electronic high adjustable frame that makes it permanently flat worked beautifully. And so Vanguard have used it for a few years. We've now seen it enter in schools and universities. I had a university reach out to us this year. Will you custom build it to these specific sizes? Yeah, we'll do that. But back to the boards, like places like these end rails, this was developed by Paul and Sandy. Things, and even the color, Paul and Sandy both said to us, when a Dynasty board goes on the field, we want people to know it's Dynasty immediately. So what can we do to do that? And in addition to that, we want to show the quality of the materials that we're using, right? So if I paint this end rail black, people are going to see a black piece of wood. What we want people to see is look at the quality of the wood. Look how thick this is. We know that high schools and colleges are going to put it through and really start to smack it around. So we want to show off the quality of wood we're using.
What kind of wood is this?
This is an ash. This is an ash.
Beautiful.
And
I love that natural finish, and you can see the grain.
You can see the wood grain, you can see the quality of wood, you can see the thickness of the wood we're using. We're not covering up, there's no trim, It's right there. And we use this extended side profile to start protecting the bars, so you cannot smack the bread and butter of your keyboard. But we also did things like make sure that our boards have one single rail across. We're no longer in an age where high schools and colleges break down their keyboards to fit it into the back of a trailer. It's going on an 18-wheeler. We don't break things down and fold it up anymore. We need to get it on the truck, get to the next location, and if you put a hinge in the middle of the board, you're going to see flex after a while. Making that a solid single rail means that thing is going to stay in one piece for years to come. So.
And you were talking about the E-frames. I know from a player perspective, from a teacher perspective, traditionally what you need to do is, if I'm practicing, I need to find a buddy who can sit on one side and my side.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have different mechanisms where you can do one side as a player and go over there, and there are numbering systems and you're checking.
Gas struts, the brake,
yes.
or your
things start getting loose and it's getting a little wonky over here.
And even our Titan frame is a rugged design. It's bomb-proof, but you will have things start to move to a different angle with a student who's slightly stronger than another. Yeah. It doesn't stay level, so this will keep it perfectly flat. And then all they have to do to height adjust.
Oh, come over here, guys. Come on this way. This is so interesting.
All they're going to have to do to height adjust is just lift up the paddle.
Whoa.
And there we go. We have 4 presets as well.
It's literally 2 fingers.
Oh, yeah. We have 4 presets, so you see it pause there. So you can preset that to your height, and when it pauses, it tells you, hey, this is where you wanted me to be. It will adjust to 1/10 of an inch. We partnered with a US company for this, and they actually allowed us to change some of the internals so that, when we're talking about the low end of a 5 octave, there's a lot of weight here. And that amount of weight over the years that you want your keyboard to last, you got to mess with some internals to make sure that is going to keep up with the weight and the load that it's going to be dealing with for the years to come. So
the ability to adjust the height of an instrument, let me see where's camera area. The ability to adjust the height of an instrument is so important, because one thing that you'll see the difference, a very stark difference between a beginner or developing young musician and a professional veteran player is a pro will walk in and the first thing they do is they adjust the instrument to their bodies and to their playing position. If you're at a solo ensemble, you're in a school where you have students of varying heights, you'll see the younger players or the less vertically challenged players who are playing like this, and you're developing all sort of physical challenges. And so it's not only providing, the comfort of playing, but it's access to the instrument and to be able to perform their very best.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge feature of what we focus on throughout building Dynasty, is that you want to be an inclusive company where it doesn't matter who you are or what your background is from, you have access to the music education world. When you put on a drum, when you use a board, when you're using and moving with these instruments, you want to be able to feel, that you belong in that position. And if you do certain things where, your board doesn't go below this, and so kids are playing up here, we're increasing the chance of a kid going, this is not for me. I'm going to go do something else, and then they don't get the benefit of music in their life because something doesn't fit right, because you know, something's going wrong when it hurts them or doesn't work. So I think that's a huge feature.
How many years of development do you think this current version of the board has seen? I can see your brain calculating, adding all the numbers up.
Well, because I think to create a good product, you have to use experts in the field, as well as your knowledge of manufacturing, right? So, you have to utilize everybody's experience to create a great product. So, how do I add up Paul and Sandy's experience, Doug DeMoro's experience,
I see.
you know, the management of Marching USA, all of that to create this product? It's a century, you know. Like this is standing on the shoulders of giants to create something and learning what music educators need from their instruments now. Like it's to produce a Dynasty product, or to produce a good quality product in this industry where you're not taking shortcuts on materials, where you're focusing on a quality, inclusive instrument. You're using a wide range of people's knowledge and understanding, and people who want to drive innovation in this industry have to be part of the picture to develop new products. You can't do that by yourself. You can't be like, well, I'm Dynasty and I'm going to create a phenomenal keyboard, you know, and not listen to the educators around you. So, centuries.
Well, I can hear the sound starting to creep up behind us.
Yeah.
And I know that everyone watching right now is salivating at the drums that they see behind them. So maybe we could spin across this way and you can show us some of the latest developments on this side of things.
Hey everybody, Wei here from Ensemble Block. Thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying this type of content, the best way to let us know is by hitting that like, subscribe, and share button. Your voice has a direct impact on the type of productions that we bring to our community, so please take a moment to do so. I know everyone says that, but it really does make a difference. You can also find us on ensembleblock.com, where you can create a free account and watch more behind-the-scenes videos, along with a whole range of free to premium video collections that we have available for you. Your participation in Ensemble Block is a direct vote of confidence for our mission to provide more access to people all over the world, as well as amplify the voices of all the amazing creators, teachers, arts organizations, and companies like Luke and the entire Dynasty team that are advocating and advancing our art form. So find us on your favorite social media platform at Ensemble Block. You can drop us a comment, let us know where you're watching from. Create your free account on ensembleblock.com. And thank you again for watching. Now back to the video.
So one thing we really focus on with Dynasty Marching Percussion is the ability to customize the drum and your drum line to what you want. And we've had people bring in uniforms. We have people wanting to add logos to their drums. People want to be able to customize their drums to suit their program, their needs, and their aesthetic preferences, you know?
So is that what we're seeing over here? The colored rims, hardware.
It's what you see through Vanguard through the years. It's what we try and demonstrate here. You know, acrylic shells, not great for a high school marching band, but on the stage with Odessa, great. You know, when we brought candy coat, powder coat hardware to the industry, we didn't realize how big of a big hit that was going to be, but it's done great in the HBCU markets. And also, we demoed that with Vanguard this year. So
these are the 2024 Santa Clara Vanguard drums, and they did all right this year, right? That's a Sanford winning drum right there.
Yeah, that was there on finals night. And
can you tell us about some of the R&D that you guys have been working on at Dynasty with this drum?
Absolutely. So I think one thing we want to do as a company is constantly push industry into areas where we develop and design new products that it pushes the industry as a whole to make better, smarter things. And so what we did is use, you know, I'm going to tell you the whole story. So what we did was look at the standard way of building a marching drum and challenge it a little bit. Why does the whole industry use a ply shell? Everybody now has these down tubes and three hoops. Is there something we can do here to push the industry, but give the cutting edge artists and groups something new and something interesting to use? And so what we did is we brought Paul in, and we had used a single ply steam bend shell. This is a natural finish with chrome hardware. We had a ply shell drum, snare drum, sorry, not just shell, but the whole drum, and a stave drum, all next to each other, all in a neutral finish. And we said, we've designed 3 drums, tune it the way you want to, talk to us, give us feedback, but pick one. And so we went through this process of him listening, tuning, and very quickly, it was amazing how fast he went, this is the drum I've been playing for years. We were like, what? Okay. And he started leaning towards the stave shell. He was tuning it faster. He was leaning in a little bit and listening to certain elements of what the shell was giving him. And it was still pretty quick. I think within an hour or two, it was maybe less, maybe it was an hour. He went, we're using this for Vanguard. And that was it. And so what we've done is created a stave marching shell. It is an industry first. And for those of you who don't know what a stave shell is, essentially what we do, we use a single solid piece of North American maple. We cut it down into wedges, and what we do is we create like a hexagon, octagon, like a many-sided, flat-shaped cylinder.
Is this like when you see barrels being made or casks?
Yeah, similar technology, similar idea where we're putting pressure, outside pressure into the wood, yes, and it's starting to tighten up. Okay, and that's part of where the success came from a stave snare. So as Paul was tightening it, as that frequency got a little higher, this drum was outperforming the others. And for the marching arts, where we use Kevlar heads day in, day out, yes, and we are pretty brutal on the drum, it's vital that we start to see something like that interact and come out on top. So,
because for people who may not have worked on a lot of drums, as you tighten down on those heads to get those pitches up where you need them, an enormous amount of pressure is being put on those shells.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pounds of pressure is required to tune a Kevlar flam tube. Yes. So a lighter weight Kevlar head, yes, is thousands and thousands of pressure. We put this shell here through destruction tests over and over again, using those Kevlar heads to make sure that this was going to withstand a season. It was a nerve-wracking time.
I know for pianos, when they're testing them, they have machines that will automated just bang on the keys essentially for hours at a time.
Yeah.
How are you guys stress testing by putting heads on and off and on and off? You're in the factory head tuning.
No, it's a little bit different. We don't tune it. It's kind of like a pneumatic system where you pull down on a crank, and we're reading, what point does this head break? And we'll do it off the shelf, so we know the breaking point of the head. We do that a few times. Okay, so we know we're looking at somewhere between that 3,000 and 4,000 pounds of pressure. Okay, now we're going to put the shell under the head and start cranking down, and you have a good amount of safety gear on. But what we started to see with this shell, that as the head in a normal design snare, we have to reinforce apply shell. And that's because you're fighting, like you don't want that shell to collapse and you want that head to stretch right over the shell, and so there's like two elements fighting against each other. Here, the stave shell, as you crank down on the head, the shell starts to condense into itself and it becomes more rigid. And so you have this intelligent level of tuning where the shell and the head are working together, they're working combined. And so when we get to those higher frequencies, you're getting nicer tone. I felt like there was like more body to it. There's a little bit more oomph in there. And however you describe it, everybody agreed that the stave shell sounded better than any ply shell we were able to produce. And so that's what we brought with Vanguard. And even then, even on the road, as you saw, we're looking at, okay, do we mount the snare guard to the down tubes? Or do we get a little bit more response from the snares and start mounting to the shells? And Paul loves the snare response that you get from mounting guts to the shell, and that's what we ended up with at finals night, and that was the drum that came out. So
amazing. I have so many more questions, but as everyone can hear, the sound levels are starting to go up in here. The interesting thing about this video is they're getting your full experience. They had it when it was quiet.
The loudest room. Absolute loudest.
Yeah. When it's, this isn't even full volume yet.
No, it's not. This is actually the quietest day of the show.
So hopefully if we can get enough engagement and hopefully if Luke is kind enough, we can use this as a preview because you guys will be in Texas for TMEA.
Yes, we will.
February 2025.
Yes.
We'll be there as well.
Yep.
And the setup for that is even bigger than this one?
Bigger than this one. And if you're lucky, we'll give you a sneak peek of the factory.
Oh, all right, we got to do that one. So why don't we wrap here for today? And I just let me thank Luke so much again for joining us and giving us this personal walkthrough.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you at TMEA 2025.
Let's go.
All right, thanks everyone.
Take care.